Hey everyone, Jamie here from TechnicalCafe.com. As you probably already heard, this past Tuesday, September 10th, Apple actually announced two new versions of their iPhone. One of them is the iPhone 5S, which is pretty much going to be the flagship version of the iPhone, I guess you could say. And the other one is the iPhone 5C, which is also updated but has lesser specs than the iPhone 5S. And we'll get into that a little bit later in this video. So this actually right here is the iPhone 5C. You notice that it comes in different colors, and again we'll get into this later in more like toward the second part of this video. But let's go ahead and talk about the iPhone 5S first, which is pretty much the more higher end version of the new iPhone. So the iPhone 5S has a couple, or I should say a bunch of new features, many of which are not something that you've seen before in either the iPhone or other smartphones to begin with. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the features that the iPhone 5S is going to have. So you can see that the iPhone 5S, first off, comes in three different colors. One is space gray, the other one is silver, and the other is gold. So this is a little bit different from what the iPhone lineup has seen previously, as in the iPhone 5 and in previous versions. We've only had black and white, so they're changing things up a little bit in terms of color. And you can see right here some more of what the colors are going to look like, specifically the gold color there. So one of the major features of the iPhone 5S, which we haven't seen on any version of the iPhone, and you don't really see it on many phones altogether, I'm not even sure if this is going to be the first time we've seen this, is called Touch ID, which is going to allow you to unlock your iPhone using your fingerprint. So what Touch ID does is it actually, you can see here, in place of the home button is what's going to be the Touch ID sensor. And all you need to do to unlock your iPhone, instead of typing in a password, is you just put your fingerprint right on the home button and it'll unlock it. It doesn't matter which way the phone's turned. If the phone's turned into landscape mode, if you have it upside down, it'll still unlock your fingerprint, as it has 360-degree readability. So this is a good feature if you just pull it out of your pocket, don't have to have your hand on the iPhone facing vertically. So this is something that's good to unlock your iPhone. It's a completely innovative feature. We haven't seen it on any other model of the iPhone. And another good feature of this is that you can actually use the Touch ID sensor to approve purchases for iTunes, the App Store, iBooks, and things like that. So you, again, don't have to type in your password, and it saves you a little bit of time there. And one more thing is that, unlike before, if you want to let somebody else use your iPhone, or maybe you have a wife or something like that, and you want them to be able to purchase things on your iPhone, you can enroll multiple fingerprints. So you can enroll your friend's fingerprints, or maybe your kid's fingerprints, something like that, and they can unlock your iPhone. They can purchase things from your iPhone, so you don't have to trust anybody with your password and maybe have to worry about it getting lost or stolen, as only a specific number of people are going to have access to your information on your phone. Another thing to note about the iPhone is that it has a new A7 chip, which is going to be the first 64-bit chip in a smartphone, and this is something that we haven't really seen before. So the CPU speed and graphics performance is up to two times faster than what we had with the previous chip, the A6 chip, which is actually going to be in the iPhone 5C. And this is going to take advantage of, allow iOS 7 to take advantage of the A7 chip, as it was actually designed for 64-bit. And the A7 chip also supports OpenGL ES version 3.0, which has to do with video games and graphics and stuff like that. And the camera actually takes advantage of the newer and higher performing A7 chip, allowing you to have 2 times faster autofocus, faster photo capture, higher frame rates when you're recording videos and things like that. So that'll enable you to have a bunch of speedier processes and whatnot. Along with the A7 chip, Apple also included an M7 coprocessor, which is another new feature that's new to the iPhone. We haven't seen this before in any other version of the iPhone. And essentially it's like a secondary processor for your iPhone. So whenever you're using it and you want to do something, you don't have to always fire up the A7 processor and waste battery life and stuff like that. So according to the Apple website, the M7 coprocessor is like a sidekick to the A7 chip, meaning it'll work in tandem with it or in place of it when you don't have to fire up the full chip there. So the coprocessor is designed mainly for measuring motion data, the accelerometer, the gyroscope, compass, and things like that. But the iPhone is capable of using the M7 rather than the A7, which will allow you to save processor power in certain situations. And because of saving processing power, you'll also be able to save battery power, allowing you to use your phone longer and stuff like that. So if we scroll down here, you'll notice that there is also some updates to the iSight camera. There's a bunch of pictures you can see here, And this is going to allow you to do many more things that perhaps you needed to use the other app for earlier. So the iSight camera is going to have a 15% larger sensor, and it's going to allow you to have burst mode with up to 10 pictures a second. And it's going to have a new flash called a True Tone flash, which instead of using just a white plain old light, it's going to allow you to use white in amber flash, which will allow you to have the colors pop more and make things look more like they're supposed to look. And the iPhone 5S camera is also going to have image stabilization, and something that's new to the iPhone is slow motion video, which if you wanted to take before, you'd have to use a secondary app or something like that, and even then it probably wouldn't be true slow motion. It would probably just be slowed down in post. So this is going to allow you to take 100 frames per second of video, or 120 frames per second, I believe it is. Yep, 120 frames per second. And also on the iPhone with the new camera, there's going to be a live zoom with the video, which you previously didn't have. And you're also going to be able to take square photos and apply filters to your photos, similar to how you'd be able to do in an app like Instagram or something like that. So another couple of good features in the iPhone 5S is that the maps are going to be able to switch from driving to walking. So for example, let's say you're in your car and you're driving from your house to some place you don't know how to get to, and you park the car and get out and continue to walk to the place. Let's say you're here to park up the street or whatever. The processor is going to allow you to switch from driving directions to walking directions. It's the M7 processor in particular is going to allow you to allow the phone to sense that you've stopped moving at such a high speed, and it'll sense that you're walking, therefore allowing you to switch to walking directions without you even having to do anything. And so it can tell if you're in the M7 processor can also tell if you're within a vehicle, and it'll allow you to not join or not ask you to join Wi-Fi networks while you're driving. Another thing that can help save battery life and stop the annoying pop-ups if you happen to be driving by a house that has a Wi-Fi network. So another thing that we can talk about now is the new version of the iPhone called the iPhone 5C, which is still updated, but it has lesser specs than the iPhone 5S. And you can see here that the iPhone 5C, unlike the iPhone 5S, is going to come in a variety of colors, similar to like the iPod Touch, which has a couple different colors I believe you can get. And you can see that the colors are green, blue, yellow, pink, and white if you just like a plain old iPhone. You can't get the 5C in black, unfortunately, if that's something that you like, but I guess you have to take it as it is. So the iPhone 5C is similar to the iPhone 5S. It has many of the same features. It's going to be running iOS 7, and it's going to allow you to use all the features of iOS 7. But the thing is, it's going to have an A6 chip, which I believe the iPhone 5 has. But it's still going to allow you to have 10 hours of battery life when it comes to browsing the web, talking, or watching videos. And it has an 8-megapixel iSight camera, so it has the same quality of camera as the iPhone 5S. But it doesn't have auto image stabilization, so pictures might be a little bit shakier, but that's not really a big deal. There's no burst mode, and you can't take slow-mo videos or true slow-mo videos. You can use an app to slow it down or something like that, but you're still going to be able to have 1080p videos at 30 frames per second, which is the same thing for the iPhone 5S. And one of the major differences between the iPhone 5C and the iPhone 5S, besides the color differences, is that there's no fingerprint sensor or Touch ID on the iPhone 5C, so you're still going to have to type in a password if you want to get into your phone and have it protected and stuff like that. Both of them are going to have Lightning connectors, so if you have an iPhone 5 and you're upgrading to the iPhone 5S or iPhone 5C, you can still use the same charger. If you're upgrading from the iPhone 4, however, you're going to have to either buy an adapter or just buy the new Lightning connector. So if we come over here, you'll notice that quick comparison of the phones. The iPhone 5S is going to cost, for a 16GB model with an upgrade or a new plan, I'm assuming, $199. The iPhone 5C is $99, and you'll get an 8GB iPhone 4S for free with a new plan or contract extension or something like that. For a 32GB model of the iPhone 5S, it's going to be $299, and for a 32GB model of the iPhone 5C, it's going to be $199. So you notice that it's a $100 drop, but you are losing some features, albeit not that much, but it's still a significant difference with the iPhone 5S. And there's also the iPhone 5S, unlike the 5C or the iPhone 4S, if you're buying a new contract, it's going to have a 64GB version for $399. And then we can come down here and see the weight and dimensions. The iPhone 5S is actually a little bit smaller in terms of height than the iPhone 5C. It's a little bit less in terms of width, same with depth, and It also weighs less than the 5C, but these weights aren't really anything too noticeable anyway. And again, the iPhone 5S is going to be running with an A7 chip with 64-bit architecture, along with the M7 coprocessor to help it out and help conserve battery life and things like that. So the iPhone 5C has the A6 chip, and just for comparison, they have the iPhone 4S, which has an A5 chip. So you'll notice that there's a bit of a speed difference. So it's going to be available on all 4 of the major carriers, and a lot of them, if you want to get into the particular details, you can come over to apple.com/iPhone/compare and view all the cellular and wireless information, as well as information about the camera, which we already discussed, and other information regarding the phones. So this is just a quick overview of what the different iPhones models are going to have. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the description below. And you can also feel free to tweet me on Twitter, twitter.com/JamieMCG, or twitter.com/TechnicalCafe. And thank you for watching.